My name's Lee, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add triangular layers to a longer length haircut, resulting in a face frame while maintaining density throughout the look. Before starting any haircut, it's important to assess the fix factors to see if there is anything that might have a negative effect on a desired outcome. For this particular look, I'm paying attention to the face shape, hair growth patterns, and the overall density of the hair. The face shape has a natural roundness to it. There is a slight cowlick at the front hairline, and the hair has a fine to medium density. It's important for me to establish these factors as they help me to make better decisions when it comes to what techniques I use here. The roundness of the face tells me that if I want to achieve aesthetic balance, I need to create the illusion of an oval face shape. The cowlick at the front tells me that I need to obey the natural part line, and some fringes would be off limits here. The overall density tells me that I need to be mindful of what layer shape and choice of length I use, so that I don't reduce the density to a point where the hair feels sparse. I'm going to start this process at the basin with shampoo and conditioner. This will ensure even dampness and soften the hair so I can cut and reshape it as desired. Next, I'm going to decide my zone pattern, which will dictate the overall shape development throughout this haircut. Firstly, I'm going to find the natural parting. This can be done by combing all the hair back towards the crown and then giving it a small push back towards the face. This will allow the hair to divide in its natural fall. Next, I'm going to section from the highest point of the head to just behind the ear where the hairline changes. Repeat on the other side and secure both front panels with clips. Once the front panels are secured away, I can work on the back panels. I'm going to split the hair directly down the center. This enables me to have visibility of the cutting surface and breaks the zone up into more manageable pieces. Next, I'm going to create a zone just above the widest point of the back of the head, which is the occipital bone. Everything below the occipital bone will be cut to a square line with a razor to create a balanced and disheveled line. To cut the perimeter line, I'm going to split this zone into 3 panels and cut one in the center and one on either corner. You can see with the razor here, I'm using medium strokes with a 45-degree angle on the blade. Once all the hair below the occipital bone is cut, I'm going to move up the head in the same fashion using square section lines to mimic the perimeter shape. My subsequent sections here are roughly 2 combs width in size. This is larger than my usual recommendation. As I discovered at the beginning of this tutorial, the hair density is fine to medium. This tells me that I can take slightly larger sections and still be able to see my guidelines, which is ultimately what will dictate my accuracy throughout this zone. I'm also using a razor which is capable of cutting through larger sections of hair. I will repeat this technique until I reach the highest point of the head and there is no hair left to cut in this zone. Moving on now, I'm going to be working on the zones at the front of the head. Before I cut any more hair, I need to make a decision on what length I'm going to be aiming for. In this scenario, I want the hair to fall around the jaw length and below. This is because, as I discovered at the beginning of this tutorial, the face has a natural roundness to it. I'm aiming to give the illusion of an oval face shape. For this to be successful, I need to elongate and simultaneously narrow the silhouette of the face shape. Firstly, I'm going to set a guideline for this whole zone. To do this, I'm going to use a diagonal forward section line on both sides of the part line. This is to ensure I have an adequate guideline on both sides of the head. The diagonal forward section lines lend themselves to this technique, as I'm going to be using over direction and elevation to create my triangular layers. For this first section, I'm going to elevate on roughly a 45-degree angle and point cut the line. This does a few things. It creates a shorter, shattered effect around the face, while retaining density towards the back of this zone, which will blend into the lengths at the back, ensuring I retain density throughout. This is where over direction really becomes the star of the show. Once I am happy with the length of my initial guideline, I'm going to continue with diagonal forward sections, but focus on cutting one side at a time. You can see here that over directing the hair has allowed the shape at the front of the face to increase in length. This technique creates forward graduation around the face. Repeat this process on the other side. Once the layering has been complete at the front, I'm going to go back to the perimeter line and remove any excess length that may be left over from the zones at the front. That's the wet cutting complete. It's now time to move on to the styling. I'm choosing to use my Dyson Supersonic with the concentrator attachment and a large paddle brush. To start with, I'm going to set the Supersonic to a medium heat and a medium speed, and focus on wrap drying the roots in the direction that I want them to live, especially in the front zones. I really want the hair to move towards the face here. Using a medium speed and a medium heat gives me so much more control when styling hair that has a fine to medium density. If I use too much heat, I can risk damaging the hair, and it could dry way too fast, reducing any control I have over the hair. Once I'm happy with the root direction, I'm going to switch out my paddle brush for a medium-sized round brush and start to add smoothness and shine to the ends while simultaneously shaping them towards the face. This will help to encourage the hair to sit in the desired silhouette around the face and enhance the forward graduation. Once I'm happy with the direction and finish of the hair, I'm going to move into the refinery stages of this look. Starting at the front of the head, I'm going to use a deep point cutting technique to add softness to the ends, which will again enhance and encourage the forward graduation effect around the face. I will repeat this softening technique throughout all zones to bring a sense of balance to the overall look and feel of the haircut. Once I'm happy with the overall feel and the look, I'm going to add some finishing touches by using a straightener. I'm choosing to use my Dyson Corral cordless straightener and setting it to a medium heat setting. In this case, it's 185 degrees. Starting at the front, I'm going to focus on the mid-lengths and ends of this look and add some extra shine and shape. As I approach the ends, I'm bending the hair in towards the face to enhance the shape I have created with the cut. Once the straightening has been complete, there's one last step to carry out, and that's to cool the hair down. We use the golden rule of whatever gets heated up must be cooled down. To do this, I'm going to switch back to my Supersonic and paddle brush, but this time switch the Supersonic to the coolest setting it has. This will solidify the styling and add shine by returning the cuticles back to their original position, ensuring the health and longevity of the hair. And that's the completed look. Triangular layers in a longer length haircut, which creates a soft face frame while retaining density throughout the rest of the look. Thanks for watching. To see more like this, please visit our extensive education library